Hi, this is the elementary Sunday school lesson for this Sunday, June 17th. Sunday school is at 10 o'clock here in the temporary building. The lesson is God Answers Job. This is from Job chapter 38, verses 1 through 40, verse 1 through chapter 42, verse 6. That's hard to say. Page 126 in the Shine Bible. That's the story. So this is still in the where our theme is basically talking about creation. This Bible story is when God answers Job's questions and talks about nature. Basically, talks about God's creations and how unknowable they are to man, and how awesome it is to think about like what God was able to create in nature. So there's a couple of ideas. Let me find them here. So it's kind of a kickoff. There was this thing, it's called riddles that the kids can do. So it's basically, depending on how many kids there are, and this works with a small group as well as a large group, but each kid can take a turn and say, they think of something in nature, and they'll say, I'm thinking of something in nature that's red, or that begins with the letter T, or that is very tall, or something that's close to the ground and soft. Like they say something with like one hint about what it is, and then the other kids can start guessing. And that just might be a fun way to kick off reading the story. Then there are some nice questions. Wonder and reflect questions are on page 15 of the lesson that I will send. And I've marked the first four I liked. They are, imagine God answering from a whirlwind. That's one of the things that happens in this story. It's kind of like this thunderstorm tornado, and God's voice is coming out of it. I wonder why God answered Job by talking about nature. And this is kind of the heart of the story and the heart of the question that we want the kids to think about. I wonder what nature can show us about God. And I wonder how being in nature helps us when we feel sad. That might be an opportunity for kids to talk about personal experiences if they have any with this. Is there a place they like to go when they're feeling sad that's outside, that's calming, that's solitary, something like that? They might want to share that information. So the story, and then of course the story itself is fairly long, and so you can choose to either read it or to the kids or have them read it, depending on what they are in the mood for. The other activity, which I did with the youth last Sunday and was just super fun, is I'll have a big piece of paper with different colored pens on the table in the temporary building, and we played nature Pictionary basically. And so we had a timer, and I just used my phone, set for like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes for the younger kids. We could have set it for 30 seconds with the youth, but maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and each kid thinks of something about nature that is like a challenge going on with nature today. The examples that we used in youth were the ozone layer, hole in the ozone layer, melting of the polar ice caps, deforestation, flooding was one, obviously that's close to home. Other things in nature that the kids know about that are challenges to kind of our environment today. And then, so the kid thinks of that in their head, they draw it, the idea being the child who guesses correctly what it is gets the point. If nobody guesses what it is before the timer goes off, then the drawer gets the point. Excuse me. So we had a lot of fun with that. The more kids there are, I think the more fun it will be. I think you have to make sure, although we only had 4 and that worked really well, set some ground rules in terms of, making sure who answered. If they guess, and the person who's drawing can decide if the guess is close enough to being what it is, or if they're looking for something pretty specific. But anyway, so I'll have all the materials for that game and the lesson and the opening activity, the riddle activity, and the Bible's ready to go out there. So let me know if you have any questions. I will be leaving Sunday morning for youth camp, so I won't be here for Sunday school. I hope to be on the road before then. So, but if you have any questions before Sunday morning, just let me know. Thanks so much.